Yes, people, what's going on? Back again with another footy talk. Sava, how's it going, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Not too bad. Yeah, Eden Hazard's retired, as you can see, I'm sure. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah,
Yeah,
know what I
yeah, yeah.
mean?
I'm seeing I'm seeing that anytime Eden Hazard's name's mentioned, Liverpool fans just go into overdrive about Mo Salah as though the two are connected in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, listen, top player. What a footballer on his day. What a player.
Yeah, man. Unbelievable player, man. It is just annoying that he's retired and we're talking about other players. Do you know what I mean? And it shows you the era that we're in right now, innit? Like you can't just have a good thing in it. It's always
Yeah, yeah,
There's always a comparison with something else, bro. It's jarring. Do you know what I mean? Like he's
yeah,
one
man.
of the best ever Premier League players, like undisputed.
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm saying? And
you
we'll see
can't
that.
say
We'll see that soon.
you can't say a player's good anymore because the automatic response is yeah, but not as good as this player who plays for my
Mm,
team. Look, Eden Hazard was for me simply unplayable during the Premier League. I think he had that 1 year where it didn't work. There was 1 year I remember where it was. I think Chelsea were poor in general. He was way off it. And then he bounced back the next year, was absolutely sublime, won Chelsea the title. He was all their creative force, him and Fabregas.
hmm.
And look, he was, when we talk about um, wingers that fullbacks don't want to play against,
Yeah.
this guy, right? If I'm a fullback on a Friday night, I'm thinking, oh, God, I'm playing against Eden Hazard tomorrow. And that's how good he was. It just kind of went, it kind of went downhill for him at Madrid. But what a footballer, what a player.
100%. And that's what it is. He was one of he's that generation, in it? Because he's 32 now. And like
Yeah.
I was saying before, there's not a footballer under 30 that I look at in the game right now that can replace the players over 30. They just can't be replaced. Like we was looking at for instance, Man City. I was sitting there saying how badly Man City recruited. And then I thought there's actually no one out there. Like maybe it's not their fault. You know, like that. Because it's like if you lose Mahrez and Gundogan, there's nowhere in the world that you can go and get an equivalent to these guys 10
Mm-hmm.
years younger. Like there's nowhere you can go. Like where can you go
Yeah.
to get a Mahrez replacement in their
Yeah.
20s? You can't get one. There isn't one.
Yeah. Yeah. You look, this is the problem, isn't it? I think we talked about this a number of times, and football is now it's more a system-based game where you're scouting players for this system, and people are doing this whole kind of moneyball way of finding players with stats and data. And sure, but it makes it a lot harder to go and pluck those Mahrez's, those Gareth Bales, those Gundogans, Bernardo Silvas. I don't see many of them about. I genuinely, I see a few good players around in the world. Sorry, not good. You know what I mean? I see a few Mavericks around in the world, but if I
But
said to
even
you,
but
like,
even Bernardo, like Bernardo's not really a maverick. Like Bernardo's a highly skilled player, but he's still a player that can adapt in a system. Like he's not really what I would consider a maverick. Do you know what I mean? In the sense that like he doesn't really need the freedom to kind of play his game. He's just exceptionally technical, and but he's still
yeah,
very much like a system player. Like he doesn't need freedom to be at his best. Bernardo Silva, like he's not like Eden Hazard in that way.
no,
You know?
I didn't mean it like that. So I meant just in terms of kind of replacing them.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. But once
you
they're
know,
replaced, how old is Bernardo? Must be like late 20s now.
I reckon he must be. I reckon he
Yeah.
must be. He's been around for a while now. But there's not, are there? If I said to you right now, cool, Liverpool need to replace Mo Salah. Just for example, right? Liverpool need to replace Mo Salah. Where do you go for that? Now, people are going to chuck in names of players that are having a good time,
Yeah.
players that have done little bits.
But they're not proven top level players.
Right. But where do you replace that? I mean, already this year, I think he's played 8 games. He's got 5 goals, 4 assists. These stats are every year. How do you replace that like for like? You
Can't.
you can't. You can't. And I'm just using him as an example, but I mean, it's like Spurs with Kane. Can't replace it. Can't replace, all right, you can change formations and stuff, but you ain't replacing the player.
But that's how you replace the player, is by changing the whole system, because that's the most honest thing you can do. Because you're not gonna find a light for light replacement, and it's like we're in a situation now where it tells you about the state of the game, where you can't replace these talents. You can't replace them because they are talents. That's what they are. Like, forget the athletic side of the game. These guys are talents, and you can't replace the talent because the players coming through do not have the talent of the players before them. You know what I mean? They don't, and they haven't needed it. They haven't needed it to get to that level. Like a lot of people asking me about Xavi Simons as well. Yeah, like his name always pops up in my chat all the time, and like I watched some mini kind of like a mini doc on him and that, like just to get familiar about where he's come from, etc., etc. And I seen videos of him, and it doesn't move me, bro. Like, I'll be completely honest, it don't move me. Like, man heard about his dad, and his dad named him after Xavi. Then he was at La Masia, and then he was with Mino Raiola, and Mino, like, Barca weren't bringing players through at the time, so then he ended up going to PSG, and then whatever. And it's like, yeah, cool, he's doing well in the Dutch league at the moment, but when I look at him, everyone's talking like he's a special player, bro. He don't look any better than Memphis looked, bruv, when we bought Memphis from Holland, bro. And Memphis was scoring free kicks and stuff like that. He just looks like Memphis to me. Just a more raw version of Memphis Depay. He looks exactly how Memphis looked when we bought him. Like, you don't look like a world beater, like.
Yeah, but this is the problem, Rants. You've got players now that are good footballers. Good, right? I'm just going to leave that word sitting there. They're good players, right? That's it. They're good players. Yeah. But now we've got to this era where the youngsters today were, oh my God, have you seen this guy is a baller? This guy's a baller. And you're like, you watch them and you go, yeah, he's a good player, but does he do anything that makes me go, yeah, you're special? Like, yeah, you've got it. You watch Bale at a young age. Yeah, you've got it. Eden Hazard.
But even at the beginning, like, nobody quite knew what Bale's thing was.
No,
you know
true. True. But you know what I mean is you can see there was something different with that raw pace, that power, that drive. Lots of the players I watch now are very similar. Good technically, move the ball from A to B. Good at the 5-yard pass, and then so all these stat fans can go, oh, he completed 98% of his passes today. Well, of course he did, because he played 98% of his passes 5 yards. And if you're a pro footballer that can't complete, do you know what I mean? So, look, you know me. It takes a lot to impress me from a player. So whenever people go, have you seen this guy? He's amazing. I always think, right, let me go and have a look. Let me see if I think he's good or is he amazing. Like, let me give you an example. You know, Lasine Yamal of Barcelona, 16-year-old. Yeah. Now, you watch this kid and you go, this is raw. He's 16. Of course he's raw. But you go, you've got something. You're different. You've got it. Whatever it is.
Yeah, but they said the same thing about Ansu Fati as well. Like, and then...
True. This is my point.
And then it just never materialized. Now he's at Brighton. Do you know what I'm saying? And I know people can say, oh, he got injured. But injuries are very much part of the game.
Mate, this is my point. My point is, it's all right to sit there now and go, oh, you're different. And I think Lamau looks ridiculously good. But between this age and 21, a lot can happen. Yeah. Some players go like that, right? Look at, like, I don't want to, I hate bringing it. When you look at this guy, Messi, yeah, it was like, oh, can he keep doing it? Well, yeah, he just went like that. Ronaldo went like that. Some players don't. Look at Dele Alli. Dele Alli for 2 years was epic. And then he got to like 21. And it was, okay, you've not progressed. There's nothing different to your game. You're not doing anything different to other footballers anymore. And we want to make everyone so good so quick. Everyone's, I'm seeing Arsenal fans now. Saliba's the best centre-half in the world. Whoa. Top player, really good centre-back. Why does he have to be the best in the world? Mate, I'm old. They call me a boomer, I believe it is. You know, I'm a boomer. Right. I'm nostalgic. But these players these days are nothing compared to what they were. I don't care. Nothing compared to what they were.
They're not though. They're not. And this is what it is. And guys, yes, I know Simmons is at Leipzig at the moment, but I watched his PSV season in it when I was watching the thing, and his stats were kind of crazy in that season when they won. I think they beat Ajax twice in the cup or something like that. And yeah, bro, it's like doesn't move me. And this is the thing, like even Doku now at Man City as well, I think he's trash. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's saying he's a great player, he's better than Grealish because he scored a couple goals, and I think he's rubbish. No, I mean, like, I watch him, it's like he's doing the stuff that Aaron Lennon and Sean Wright Phillips were doing, and no one bat an eyelid. You know what I mean? Getting the ball down and running at players. Like we've been watching that. You know what I mean? Like, we've been watching that. Like, these guys, we used to watch players that did what they did, and we didn't even regard them as special players. We barely regarded them as good players. They were just normal. Like.
Yeah.
See,
the thing is, with Doku, like, Doku has ability. But again, let's see what the next 2 years hold for him, right? How does a player at that age go from being a young talent to an established star? That 2 to 3 years is paramount, but people don't want that anymore. People want to go, boom, he's there or he's there. And look, like Musiala. Take Musiala. Yeah, what a player. You can see, look at that ability.
He's got unbelievable ability, but keep doing it and add some end product to your game. When you're taking the ball past these players, start scoring some goals, and then it's like, okay, do you know what I mean? But in terms of raw talent ability, he's up there. I was gonna say he's one of England's best players, but he doesn't play for England. You know what I mean? But he's a real talent. There's not too many players like that. When I look at this England team right now, and I'm looking at the real talents, I'm like, Mosey, you guys are good, but do you know what I mean? Like, there's not any real talents. Like, when I look at the England team, I don't see it. Like, Harry Kane is a real talent. Outside of Harry Kane, in the attacking areas in Ketia, no. Do you know what I mean? Ivan Toney's got real talent. Like, Foden's got real talent. Grealish has real talent. Sancho's got real talent. Stones has real talent. Like, Stones has been, since Stones came through as a young boy, like, and Stones has always had real talent. When I look at Harry Maguire and these guys, these man ain't talented. No. Like, do you know what I mean? He's just
they're run-of-the-mill footballers. Yeah, they're run-of-the-mill.
Like, in any other country, these guys are like, nobody's talking about them. They're not even making a national team. Do you think Harry Maguire could play for Croatia? No. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, forget England for a second. Like, when we look at the teams that we play in the World Cups and all these things, Harry Maguire ain't getting into Croatia.
Do you know the funny thing is, when you look at the England national team, England have got some good players, but they've also got a lot of average footballers in there.
A lot, bro.
So, and look, I started seeing it this morning. God, what interview? I was watching an interview on Sky Sports. Can't think who it was. And the question was asked, where do you see England finishing in the World Cup? And whoever it was said, oh, we're the team to beat. And I thought, God, we don't learn. Like, we never learn, Rants. I think England have got some good players. And if you gave that England group to an attacking manager, I think, yeah, you're going to be fine. The problem is, I look at the back. Take John Stones away from that back line.
And Kyle Walker, who's old
Are there top defenders there? Or are they good? Like, I like Tomori. I like Guehi, but they're good defenders. They're not like world-class going to win you World Cups. They're good players, but everyone, again, goes well over the top about every single player. And I've got my mates that have done this for the last however many tournaments are my age. Every tournament comes around, Rants, oh, look at our squad. This is it. It's coming home. And you're like, oh, my God. Then when it doesn't, oh, you've got to be proud of the boys. No. Don't build them up. Then when they fail, we're proud. Nah. So, yeah, listen, I think there's so many average footballers playing now that just get hyped up to be world class.
Yeah, 100%. And
madness.
It's crazy. Like, when you look at talent, it's like, in terms of, they call this like golden generation. In terms of actual talent, yeah, like the England's golden generation, way more talented than this team. Way more, bro. Like, when you actually think Gerrard, Scholes, Lampard, Beckham, Like, and then you look at Sol Campbell, Rio Ferdinand, John Terry, bro. We don't even have a fraction of that quality. Ashley Cole, we don't have a fraction of that quality now in this England team. Like, stop lying, bruv. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have a left back anywhere near Ashley Cole. Ashley Cole's an
Oh,
all timer, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? John Terrell, Rio Ferdinand are all timers, bro. Like, you think that if not for Ledley King's knees, bruv, that's another all timer there. In terms of talent, he was as talented as any of them centre backs, maybe even more so. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and we never really got to see that. So when you
we,
look at all these other things, yeah, when you look at all of these other things, yeah, like when you look at the actual talent that these players had, and then when you look at finishes as well, when you look at finishes, the fact that we had the Shearers, the Coles, and that, we had players like the Ferdinands, the Wrights, the Bents, the Defoes that never got caps, bruv. Do you know what I'm saying? Because we had all this talent. Where's all the
mate.
talent now?
The listen, I was going to say, I remember when growing up, I say growing up, when I was younger, it was Sheringham, Shearer, Owen, all in the squad, and you're looking at your Les Ferdinands, your Chris Suttons, your Andy Coles, your Ian Wrights. It's like these boys couldn't get a kick for England. Like they got games in qualifiers against like San Marino, but come tournament time, these players weren't getting a look in. Nowadays, Eddie Nketiah, how is that an England striker? What's he done in
Exactly.
his career? What's the most amount of goals he's ever scored? Why is that man in an England squad? How?
No
I just
idea, bro.
I don't get it at all. Look, football's not what it was. You look at that team you were naming there. You could go through them all. At that time, Neville walked into any team as a right back. Cole walked into any team. Ferdinand, Terry, Ledley King, Carragher, Beckham, Scholes, even an Owen Hargreaves, a Lampard, a Joe Cole. These players walked into any team in the Premier League and pretty much most teams in Europe. Now I'm looking at it
Facts. I even
going,
forgot Joe Cole, bruv. And
right, what a player.
natural, proper talent.
If some of these youngsters now had seen Joe Cole when he was 17, 18, and we talk about baller, he was
Yeah.
one of the best English
Yeah.
players I've ever
Yeah.
seen at that age. He was like, I remember he was in the same school year as me. So whenever we were playing in and around London, it would be like, you knew which team was the best team, and oh my god, yeah, they've got that kid who plays for Arsenal, and they've got that kid
Yeah,
that plays
yeah,
for
yeah, yeah,
West Ham.
yeah. When we used to have like the boroughs and that you used to play
Yeah,
for
yeah,
for
yeah.
your borough and that.
Yeah. Because my school team was good. My school team was good. I was the journeyman right back in my school team, right? But my school team was good with a couple of boys that played for West Ham. We all knew that the school Joe Cole played for, we were like, yeah, they're winning it. like,
Straight.
like they had Joe Cole there, and then the school closest to me, a school called Crown Woods, they had Ben Chorley at centre half. Remember Ben Chorley, who came through at Arsenal, played there for a couple of years, then moved on to like Wimbledon and that kind of stuff. And it was like no one could score past Ben Chorley. It was nowadays. I look at the England team and I don't see these talents coming through. Name me top young English players breaking through into their team right now that wow you.
Hey, bro, there isn't any, but bro, it's not just English players; it's just players in general, bro.
Oh,
Like,
I agree.
they're just not that good in it. Like this is what it is, and then when you see all the hype for these guys, I'm like, really? Really? These guys are really not that good. Like, and this is what it is. And the thing is, because of social media and the branding around players now, the hype is unbelievable, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, even with that Xavi Simons thing that I was watching, guys, they said while he was in the Barcelona youth team, this brother already had over 1 million followers on Instagram, and he was a youth team player. He was still on a youth contract. Like, what? The guy is what, under 16 years old, and he's got 1 million followers on Instagram. Like, bro, football's finished, bro.
It's
Like,
gone.
football as we know it is gone. Like, do you understand? Like, this is what it is now. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's crazy. Like, it's actually crazy. To me, it's nonsense, man. Like, I just don't. I can't with it, man. Like,
I
over a
think
million followers, it's like you've done nothing in the game. You ain't even signed a pro contract yet, and that's why, like, what is the motivation to improve, to stay after training and practice your free kicks like David Beckham was doing, or do all these, bro, like who cares? Like there's no motivation to do any of that because these men are sorted.
But you have a look at it, like two things here, right? The first thing, you look at how many of these young players, they'll play 20, 30 games and they're moving for 35, 40, 50 million, 60 million. They've played like 30 first team games. I saw in the summer, they were talking about Colwell, 70, 80 million. You're like, hang on, he's only played 17 games in the Premier League for Brighton. Look, when I was younger, if a young player came into the first team, not everyone knew everything about them unless they were properly the best of the best. And everyone was like, have you seen that kid at that club? Like when Gaza was breaking through, I remember the hype around it was this boy's special, right? Other than that, you'd go, I remember going down to White Hart Lane and you'd get the program, the old programs, about like 20p or 50p or something. You get the program, you'd look at the match day squad and go, who's that? Who's number 24? Who is that? Like you'd never heard of them. Nowadays, everyone's heard of every kid. Everyone is going, oh my God. Like I'm getting it right now, Rads. Spurs under 23s, under 8 and under 18s, or under 21s and under 18s are both top of their leagues and haven't like they just keep winning games. And you get these fans going, oh my God, this is the next baller. This is the best thing. This generation's going to win the league in 10 years. We didn't know that when we were younger. We didn't know all of these players. And, it didn't matter what the youth teams were doing. It was about, okay, how do you integrate into the first team? Now, you're right. They got 10 million Instagram followers. This boy's a baller. This compilation, this boy's different. And
man saw the same thing with what's his name that was at Chelsea? Callum. Bro, man was seeing Instagram videos of Callum Hudson-Odoi, from when he was like 13 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like it's meant to be this massive player at Chelsea. I'm still waiting. You know, like that. And this is the thing. Like you can't predict how these things are gonna go. Do you know what I'm saying? But most of the time, it's just hype now, bro. It's just hype now. And it's never going to be the same, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? It's never going to be the same.
There's a huge difference as well. It's like, so for Spurs, for example, when you look at, so Troy Parrott, there's a name I'm sure most people would have heard.
Yeah.
Right?
He's meant to be Harry Kane's replacement, isn't it?
Troy Parrott in the youth teams scored for fun. Right? We're talking about the left-hand column of games was always less than the right-hand column of goals. And it was, oh my God, there's a huge difference between putting the ball in the net at under 21 level when you're playing against 18, 19-year-olds and stepping up and playing each week in the Premier League, stepping up in any league and banging in goals for fun. And people don't realise that. But I guess that's what we have to deal with now. Everyone's a baller. Everyone's the next big thing. I mean, if I'm sure if me and you sat here right now, we could rattle off a list of names that were the next big thing. Like if I keep hearing the next Owen, the next Gaza, the next.
Oh, brother, Ross Barkley was the next Gaza, bro. Like that worked out well. You know, like
right,
that.
Right. They're all the next somebody, right? Look, you know, for me, I think fans put a lot of pressure on these players young. They tell the rest of the world they're amazing. And then if you don't rate them as amazing, those fans then double down on it.
Yeah.
They double down on you don't know ball, whatever that sentence is. Like Adnan Januzaj burst onto the scene. Some good games. He looked decent.
Yeah.
But doing it in 2 or 3 sub appearances and doing it week in, week out for 90 minutes is hugely different.
But you know what's funny, yeah? Like, and I've said this before, yeah? The majority of the times, yeah, the players at your club that stand the test of time are not the players that burst onto the scene. They're the players that come in, do a good job, and then just keep getting picked, and then keep getting picked, and then keep getting picked. And then before you know it, they've been at the club for 15 years. That's the players that stand the test of time at your club. It's not the players that burst onto the scene. It very rarely is the players that burst onto the scene.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's like, it's not. It's the players that come in, do a job, and then they just end up being there or thereabouts. And most of the time, they just end up being squad players. Like, it's not very often that players burst into the scene and become mainstays in the team. Do you know what I mean? The majority of the players that break through are not going to have the impact that Saka had at Arsenal. Do you know what I'm saying? They're not going to. Do you know what I mean? The majority of the players are going to come in, be squad players like Nketiah if he wants to stay, and he'll be a squad player for his whole career, bruv. Do you know what I mean? That's what will happen. Like, the majority of players that break through are not going to be Rashford. They're not going to come through, score in his debut, whatever, and then be a mainstay in the starting 11. Because if we're all being honest, Rashford probably should have been sold like a couple years ago. You know, like that. Like, he got to the point where he couldn't get any better and he couldn't take us where we needed to go, and he kind of shouldn't have been there. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, when you actually look at these players, like, the days of a Beckham coming through and being good enough, a Giggs coming through, and bruv, these things don't happen no more.
No, do you know what it is, right? Like, I've just seen a comment from someone in your chat that said, it said, old heads hating on youth. I'm guessing that means youth.
I don't know where that is still.
Right. At 6:35, right? It said, old heads hating on youth. Listen, I'm all for youth.
Okay.
I'm all for youth, but I think we've got to do is be careful not to make every youth player the next best thing. Let them get in. Let them get 50, 70, 100 games under their belt. Nowadays, we've got people like Cole Palmer that are getting a few games in the first team.
Yeah,
they're being sold to a club like Chelsea.
Yeah, bro, for 45 million. After
it's
not doing nothing at Man City.
Yeah, now that's not me saying Cole Palmer's not good. I think he's a really good little footballer. But that's where we've got to. We've got to this stage where people can't say, do you know what? This guy looks raw, but I'm interested to see what he could do. It's, he is amazing. Oh, God. If I had a penny for every player that was amazing. I remember when Jamie O'Hara broke through at Tottenham.
Hey, he was meant to do something for you lot as well.
Right. Jamie O'Hara broke through. I remember his debut, and we were all like, this boy's, you know, he wasn't technically gifted, but it was like, this boy's a workhorse. This boy's going to be great.
Him,
Before you know it, he's playing down at the likes of Portsmouth, and you know what I mean? Like Wolves
and that before you know it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, come on, bruv.
Right.
I said they have it all wrong. They're not hating. They're just trying to step back. Bro, you know what it is, yeah? We're just giving it to you real, innit? Because we live in a society right now, yeah, where a lot of the younger guys coming up, yeah, they don't tell you how it really is. You know what I mean? Like, the world is very, very sugar-coated for you guys. You don't understand that at the moment, everyone just like, yeah, inclusiveness and all of that, inclusivity, make everyone feel happy. Bro, listen, that's not life, man. Do you know, either you're good enough or you're not good enough, bruv. You know, like that. That's just what life is, man. Like, it's not this other nonsense, bruv. Man, I'm about to tell you that everything's going to be all right for you. It's not. Do you know what I mean? And especially football. Football is one of the most cutthroat industries that exists on planet Earth, because there's only a certain number of spots. Like, football is extremely cutthroat. So I'm not about to sit here and tell these guys, oh yeah, you're gonna break through and you're gonna have a 10-year career at Man United. I said the same thing about Garnacho. I said, listen, it's not even personal because I don't know the youth, but it's like, I've seen better players come through Man United team and not make it. Way better. The players that have longevity at Man United are the players like John O'Shea, like Wes Brown. They don't burst onto the scene. They know their role in the team. They come in and they're good squad players. And before you know it, 10 years, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 10 years, 300 appearances later.
That's it. Couple Champions Leagues and that. There's your testimonial. These are the players. This is what the average player that comes through the youth team is going to do. The average player is not going to come through the youth team, win you a Premier League title on their own, be like the face of the club and all of this. Bruv, that doesn't really exist. Like,
do you know the thing is, Rants? For me, it's this as well, right? I think that there's some players that come in, they're going to show great games, 3 or 4 games. They're going to look great, and then they're hyped up. But young players, by definition, will have 3 or 4 good games, 5 or 6 bad ones, 3 or 4 good ones. Fans now don't allow for that. Fans now put them on they're either amazing or they're rubbish after like their first 10 games. Young players used to be blooded into the team slowly.
Yeah.
Like, even if you played brilliantly, you could come on for your debut, get a hat-trick as a young striker. The next game, if the first 2 if the first 2 choice strikers were fit, you're back on that bench. It is, know your place. Get in the pecking order. You will come on when one of them gets injured or when one of them is tired. Nowadays, it's that kid's come on and scored a wonder goal. He has to start every game.
He has to start every game. He's the future. Give him the number 7. Yeah, bro.
Exactly. And for me, I get taken the piss out of because my 2 words that I always use on my channel, right? Basically, my mods have created a screenshot that I bring on of, you remember Tony Montana with a gun, giving it that, right? And it's him shooting with my face, and it just says context and consistency, bitches, right? Because for me, everything is about those 2 things. Football fans hate context, and they don't wait for consistency. There are look at players that have come through that I think were really good but weren't consistent. Sean Wright-Phillips, good player, good
on his day, could score
on his day,
goal.
Right? The next game you don't see him, right? But when we're talking about ballers and generational, these are the players that every game you go, wow, you're good. Every game, you're young, but you're different. And I just wish football fans would do that now. And if I can ask your chat a question, who just to get some ideas, who would you say right now is young players? I mean, 18, 19, maybe 20 that are playing week in, week out that are exceptional. I'm not saying they don't ever have bad games, but more often than not, week in, week out, that perform at the highest level and the hype is worth it. I'd just be interested to see what names come through. That's all.
Well, only Bellingham is the name probably that I expect to see.
Bellingham, maybe a Musiala. For me, I think when I watch him, he's very good. I don't know if he's still a kid.
Musiala's genuine class. Genuine class. He's a baller. Pedri's class as well, to be fair. Tell, I haven't seen a lot of. Do you know what I mean? I haven't seen a lot of.
And is he playing week in, week? Is he starting week in, week out?
See, no, I've seen him come off the bench. I haven't seen him start the games. You know what I'm saying? And so, see, that's what I mean. We don't really know. Gavi, I don't rate. Do you know what I mean? Bellingham's getting loads of hype. Bellingham's getting the hype because he's English, innit? You know what I mean? So he's getting extra hype.
I wonder if the hype will stick around when this sensational goal scoring patch ends.
No, it won't. It won't.
I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying, like, when you get 8 goals in 9 games or whatever he's got, people go, wow. If when the goals aren't coming,
when the goals dry up,
right?
Yeah,
that's when you see how good a player is.
It is going to die down. Of course it is, because the hype is because of the goal scoring form, because people keep showing the stats and comparing the stats to CR7s and to Zidane's and that. It's the stats, it's not the performances, because every time I've watched Real Madrid, like, the performances haven't been great. Like, he hasn't looked amazing when I've watched him play, but he's in the right place at the right time at the moment. He's scoring goals, but the performances are not out of this world. They're not.
No, I agree with you. And look, I mean, I'm seeing people say, "Oh my God, he's on Ballon d'Or form," and you're like, "Well, hang on, it's October. Like, what are we doing?"
No, but he is on Ballon d'Or form in terms of
goals,
his goal to games ratio. He
is
100%.
Yeah. I like to. For me, it's everything in life. For me, is consistency. Everything. You see this. You can put this to any form, any walk of life. Rants. Look at movie stars. Look at singers. There are singers that burst on. They're the big thing for a year. They bring out an album. Everyone loves them. And then in 3 or 4 years' time, you're going, oh, where's so-and-so? Actors.
Bro, that's the same. Bro, look at the thing that happened to my man at Napoli, the winger.
Oh, Kvaratskhelia.
Yeah. For 5 minutes, he was the best player in the world, bruv. George Best and that. Yeah, where's he now? And no one ain't talking about him no more. They found a new toy. The new toy is Jude Bellingham at the moment. For now, and then there'll be someone else. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, he was 100. Rants, would you take him at Man United? 90 million. No, I ain't talking about him no more. I heard he was on a mad goal drought. Now, out of nowhere, like, he just weren't scoring goals no more, man. Come on, man. This is football, man. These men just looking for a new toy to play with, man, all the time. And it's Jude's turn at the moment.
I agree.
And it'll be someone else next season.
Like that Kvaratskhelia, I think I'm saying it right. Somebody will probably tell me I'm not. I think it's a bloody good guess, if not. He's a good player. But again, when we want to elevate people to this level, you can't turn it on and off. Those players at that level, they do it week in, week. Rooney, week in, week out. Yeah. Michael Owen, when he was younger, it was week in, week out. You know, Bellingham at the moment is week in, week out. At the moment, let's see what happens when they do have those bad spells. Let's see what happens when Kvaratskhelia has a bad year. Does he go from this 120 million to 30 million? Like, just let players do it over a couple of years at least, and then we can all say he is world class. That's all I ever ask from people, but I just get shot down all the time that I don't know a player because I don't rate everybody immediately in the first year of their career.
Yeah, I forget, it's some joke business, and that's why, like, even when we look at the Hazard situation, it's like there's no player in the modern game now comparable to him, and he's only 32. He's not old. Like, he should still be playing. Like, there's no modern players right now with his skill set in this generation, yeah, that you're like, yo, that you could really compare to Eden Hazard in terms of what he could do. Do you know what I mean? So even the comparisons with the Salah, it's disingenuous, bro, because it's like they're not the same profile of player.
No, they're not the same player at all.
Like, there's no way. Like, Salah, like when Salah retires, everyone will be talking about his goal records. That's what they'll be talking about. Ain't gonna be talking about nothing else. You know what I'm saying? And like I was saying in my previous stream about R9, for instance, he was a goal scorer, but I don't know how many goals he scored because nobody cared. When I was watching R9 compilations, I was watching the nutmegs, I was watching the runs, I was watching the skills and everything that he was doing. I wasn't watching it for the goals. Like, the goals were the icing on the cake. I was watching it for the player. No one can tell me that they watch football just to watch Mo Salah, because he's not fun to watch. He ain't got the skill that Hazard has. He ain't got the invention. He ain't got the flair. He hasn't... Like, when
he's
you
a direct player.
Yeah, he just
Salah
picks up the ball and runs at people and scores goals. Like, great. But it's like, it's not comparable to watching an artist at work like Eden Hazard. Like, it's not. It's like comparing Kaká and Zidane, bro. It's not the same. Like, when you watch Zidane, you know you're going to get technical elegance. You're going to get beautiful stuff. And with Kaká, you know you're just going to get a guy that picks up the ball. He's just going to sprint past you and he might slap one in the top corner. But it's not the same.
Yeah. Listen, I hear you. I mean, just quickly, RTM Sports Service at 6:47 said, this Tottenham guy, I don't know what he's talking about in regards to youth. Bellingham has been professional since he was 16.
What's that got to do with anything?
I don't know what that's got to do with anything.
Youth means your age. It doesn't mean, like, playing the youth team. No,
yeah, he's a young player.
No? Sometimes you just got to let people argue with themselves in the chat.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to do that.
No. You're right. Look, I agree with you. Mo Salah for me is superb at what he does. He is head down, get the ball. You know that he is directly running at goal. As a defender, you know what he's going to do. You still can't stop it most of the time, but you know what he's going to do. Eden Hazard's different. Eden Hazard's, you don't know what he's going to do when he gets the ball. He can twist, he can turn onto right foot, left foot, little Cruyff turns. He can run at you directly. He can score from outside the box. He can give and go. Players like that are different. They are different. And you often find with players like that sometimes their careers aren't always as long because they are short burst type players. They're not in the game all game, but they're the moments players. They're the ones that do 3 or 4 things in a game that win you it. Mo Salah's built differently to that. He's a runner. I'm not knocking him. I think he's superb. I think
he's more of an athlete than a footballer, whereas Hazard was more of a footballer than an athlete. They're completely different players. There's no disrespect. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, at the end of the day, there's different types of players. There's not one way to play football.
No, of course.
But one way just looks better. Do you know what I'm saying? And the way Hazard played looks better.
Yeah.
It looks better. And it's also more difficult. Like, it is what it is. Like, there's a reason why when you watch football, the real technicians of the highest level, there's a reason why there's such a small group of them. Because it's harder to play the way that they play. And that's just how it is, man. Like, it's a lot easier if you won the genetic lottery and you're a great athlete, and then you learn how to play football. And then you get footballers that do their best to learn how to be athletes. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's why Eden Hazard's retired at 32. He's like, bro, I can't do this no more. I just want to enjoy my life. I was someone that was exceptionally talented. And it's like, no, I can't be asked to run around no more. Had too many injuries. Can't be asked to get in shape no more. It's like, nah, this is effort for me. Some players, it's not effort for them. It's not effort for them to stay fit. They're just naturally talented. Like being fit naturally, yeah, is a gift. It's a gift.
Look, do you know what? Right, I used to work for Charlton Athletic when I was younger, and whenever we were doing the academy centres when they were younger. So I worked for the development centre, which was just before they went into the academy. And it was all the kids that they'd scouted from around the Sunday leagues and Saturday leagues and said, okay, you're good, but are you good enough? Come to these centres, we'll develop and see you. Okay. And it was funny how many coaches would look at a player and go, too small. And it was like, I was always one that looked at players and went, yeah, but they're a child. I'm not looking at, you can bulk them up. They can, I'm looking, what's their ability as a footballer like? But so many coaches at that young age, they're worried about, are their academy teams winning trophies because they've got the biggest and best athletes, as opposed to, can we get the technical player in? Can we get the Eden Hazard in? Who, and I'm just going to go out on a limb here. I didn't know Eden Hazard when he was 7, 8, 9, 10. I bet he was a scrawny little git. I bet he was tiny.
Now.
Right.
He's 5'7" now, so he would have been tiny.
Right. And I saw it all the time. These kids would come on, any kids with skill. And I'll give you an example. There's a bloke called Erhan Oztuma. Now, some of you might have heard his name. He played for, he came through at Cheltenham and he played many years, I want to say at Warsaw. Really small. I'm talking tiny, maybe 5'2", 3", tiny bloke. Tricky little number 10 stroke winger, technically gifted, but tiny. And I remember one of the coaches was like, there's no place for a player like them in football. And I was like, what? There's no place for the player that can give and go. There's no place for the player that can dribble intricately. All we're worried about is, can he have a battle? Can he have a fight? And I said, if we're going to go by that method, then what are we doing with Xavi, with Iniesta, with Modric, with Messi, with David Silva, Bernardo Silva? What do we, Phil Foden? Like, what are we doing with all these small? Joe Cole was a small lad. Like, what are we doing here? Like, but
even players like Lennon, Sean Wright Phillips, they weren't tall.
No,
you know what I mean? No. It's a new thing to have wingers that were tall. Wingers used to be the shorter players, the nippy ones. Even fullbacks never used to be that tall either. You know what I mean? It was weird when we used to see John O'Shea at 6'3" as a wingback. Like, it's weird. It's like, what's this centre back doing out there? Like, it looked weird. And now all your fullbacks are over 6 foot, all of them. Like, this is what it is. The game is evolving, and it's turned into an athlete's game. And there's almost not any room for footballers anymore. There's almost not any room for footballers anymore. When I look at the modern game, there's not many players that I look at and I say, yeah, he looks like a footballer. Like most, they don't look like footballers, bro. And when I say look like footballer, I just mean from how comfortable they are on the ball to how they move. Like even footballers, like if you've been around enough footballers just walk different, bro. They just got a certain kind of swagger that they walk with. Like these players just look like robots, man. Like the majority of these new players just look like robots. Like they all come off a conveyor belt, bro. Like they look like they just all come out of a football factory, literally.
I think you've got the same terminology I have. When I see a player, I go, that's a footballer. And my mate always goes, they're all footballers. I'm like, no. Some of these guys are out here just filling numbers. That's a footballer. Do you know what I mean? And like Joe Cole had it. We talk about Joe Cole. That was a footballer.
A footballer.
Different. When he was a kid, they said that you could put the ball in amongst all the kids. All the other kids could pass it back. All the kids could run and turn. You put it into Joe Cole's feet, and he just had that trickery, that sorcery, that close-knit control.
Like even Glenn Hoddle said, I could tell by a player's first touch if they're a footballer. Just the first touch. Do you know what I mean? And right now, when I look at all these guys and I see their first touch, like I was watching the Arsenal game and Haaland, he brought down this pass. And everyone was like, oh, a touch from Haaland. I was like, bro, that was a bad touch. The ball went 5 yards behind him. Yeah, he got it back. Do you know what I mean? But it wasn't a good touch. That's not where he meant the ball to land. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you don't mean for the ball to land 5 yards behind you. Like, you don't mean to do that. Like, it was a bad touch. But everyone thought it was a good touch because he was going that way. Everyone was going that way, and he's controlled it. everyone's kept going, and then he's gone back and got the ball. But I was like, bro, that's a bad touch. The
I
ball,
agree.
if the ball's not within the width of your body, that's a bad touch. Like, do you know what I mean? You're not in control of it. You ain't killed it. The ball's still live. I mean, if
Yeah,
there was someone trailing you, they pick that up and they're running off with it, and it's like the art of football's dying. Like,
do you know what? The control is so important. I think I mentioned this to you the other day. Whenever I watched the great man behind me, old Ginola, whenever I watched him control a ball out of the air, it wasn't just that he killed it stone dead. He killed it stone dead where he wanted his next pass to be.
yeah,
So he didn't just kill it at his feet. It was, okay, I'm going to open my body up. I've killed it stone dead just to the side of me, so I'm ready to go on my right foot, or just to the left of me, and that's a proper footballer for me. Somebody in the chat's got it right. It said like Enzo Fernandez. You watch that boy play. Technically, he's got it.
Yeah,
He's got it. There are many good midfielders probably that will run around. They'll look busier than Enzo Fernandez. They'll have a better engine than Enzo Fernandez. But in my team, in the team where I want my team to keep the ball and move the ball, I'll look at Enzo and he starts. He starts for me because that's a technical, accomplished footballer. So, yeah, man, the football's gone mad. It's all athletes. It's not all athletes, but it's heading that way. And
no, it pretty much is. Like in the modern game, there's not many players you could name, that are great players and not really great athletes. Before you could mention loads. You know what I'm saying? Like even Paul Scholes wasn't a great athlete. Like there was loads of them. Like there ain't a Paul Scholes at Man United now, not really. You know what I'm saying? Like the average footballer now, bro, these guys are built like proper. Like these guys are tanks, bro. Like these big guys. Like on TV, they might not look that big to you, but you see them walking down the street. Like they're not normal human beings. Like bro, that even someone like a Scott McTominay, bro, he's like 6'3", man. Like 6'3", probably about, I don't know, probably about 11 stone, 11, 12 stone, 6'3". Like no fat on him. Like this is what these guys are now. Do you know what I'm saying? Even Harry Maguire, he looks like a big clumsy guy, but he's a big lump. Like compared to the average guy, you walk around, you see Harry Maguire,
massive.
he's massive. You walk into the room, you're just like, rah, like this is what these guys are now. Like it's the athlete before the footballer.
Yeah, you're right. Listen, there's a handful of players that aren't that, and what I hate is when you see some of these small technical players play. I hate that fans' first thought is too small. I hate that.
Can't do it in the Prem. That's what
I can't do it in the Prem. I'll tell you what, I've been watching the defending in the Premier League for years, just getting worse.
It's rubbish.
And worse.
It's rubbish,
and
bro.
Worse.
If you put Zola in the Prem right now, he'd eat it up. And he was like 5'3" or something like that.
What would, that generation of striker we were talking about earlier? I know we mentioned English ones, but I'll chuck in some others. What now would the likes of potent goal scorers, Van Nistelrooy, Les Ferdinand, Yeboah, Owen, Shearer, Fowler, York, Cole, I could go on and on. These boys now would be scoring hatfuls.
Yeah, but bro, think about it. Yeah, look at the amount of goals Erling Haaland scored. And he ain't got no first touch really, and he's not really got an all-round game. If you drop them chances to like the Shearers of this world and these other guys, bro, they're eating. They're eating proper. So well, bruv. And this was in them days where these strikers had to actually make their own chances as well. If you look at some of Michael Owen's goals, he made them himself. When you look at Fowler's goals, he made them himself. Even Andy Cole, getting the ball on the edge of the box, chipping goalkeepers, getting the ball out his feet. These guys weren't solely reliant on service. They actually used to make goals themselves as well. Like look at Henry, he used to make his own goals. Do you know what I'm saying? He would make his own goals. It wasn't all the time where he was just waiting for people to, you must feed me in the box at this height. Nah, bro. Like, these guys are picking up the ball. Rooney as well was picking up the ball in his own half and just motoring. Like Rooney weren't relying on you. Like look at the Arsenal game, yeah? Erling Haaland didn't do nothing. Why? Because they didn't get me the ball how I wanted it. Bruv, you can't tell Rooney that, bro. Rooney's on the pitch. Man's going to go pick up the ball somewhere and go score a goal, bruv. Like, it's not, you didn't get me the ball at the right height by the goal and all that. Bruv, what do you mean, bro? Because these guys were just better footballers, bro. Like, just better footballers.
It's changed. It's completely changed. It's why I always laughed off the suggestion when people said to me, could Messi score that many in the Premier League? And I always used to think, Yeah.
He'll mash the Premier League, bro.
Yeah, I think even now, what is he, 36? I think right now he could come over
Yeah,
here
he can still come over and do his
and be
thing.
the
They just
best
can't be
player.
bothered. They just can't bother.
Yeah, look, it's different, isn't it? I mean, Haaland's a real unique player because he's not like anything I've seen before. But you're right, this guy,
I think he is though. I think he's a throwback number 9, just in the new era, but with the physicality of a modern player. Because when you look at him, yeah, he
Possibly.
ain't got no all-round game. He just finishes, and that was what Lineker used to do. That's what Inzaghi used to do. Even when you look at strikers like Klose and all these other guys, they were just box strikers, and that's what Haaland is. He's a box striker in an era of strikers now having to be a jack of all trades, and he's not that. He's just a box player. You know?
Yeah, listen, it's if you're gonna play Erling Haaland, you have to create chances as a team. I think that's part and parcel. They know that. You buy that guy, you have to create chances for him. When they don't, you mark Haaland out the game. When they do, he's unstoppable. And that's, I think, the give and take that I think Pep Guardiola's got to take at Man City, right? There's going to be games where he bags you 4 or 5 goals. There's going to be games like the game at the weekend where he's not in the game. And they're going to have to deal with that, right? That's who he is. You don't buy him because you want a Messi. You're not buying him because you got a Rooney or a Ronaldo or a Cat. That's not his game. So, look, when it works, it's devastating. When it doesn't, it's not. And
he needs a supply line, bro. That's what it is. And this is why when we when we lost David Beckham, yeah, and we got CR7 in, we got rid of Ruud van Nistelrooy because the service wasn't coming anymore. I'm saying the manager decided, you know what, we want Ronaldo to be the focal point. Ronaldo's going to do 500 step overs and not cross the ball. Ruud's not going to get service. Ruud's getting frustrated. Him and Ronaldo were scrapping in training. It's not going to work. Like, Ruud wants the ball a certain way. Even when you look at Alan Shearer at Newcastle, he used to say it was Nobby Solano and I think it was Lauren Robert on the other side, and he used to say to them, as soon as you take a touch out your feet, just put it in the box. I'm there, innit? Even if you don't see me, I'm there. You know, like that. And that's the kind of relationship that these strikers have with their supply line, because they understand that their supply line is what keeps them fed, innit? That this is everything. So if
it's
you
what
don't have
Ferdinand used to say to Ginola.
So if you don't have a supply line for Haaland, take him off. What's he gonna do?
Yeah, it's a strange one. I mean, it is strange that somebody who scores so many goals gets so much stick, but he is who he is. You play to his strengths or you don't. And we saw this at the beginning of last season. Like I said to somebody yesterday, I think it was I was with Saeed and them lot. I was with Saeed and LB and all those boys. And I said to LB, and he didn't like that I said it, but I feel like Pep Guardiola at the beginning of this season has gone back to what he was doing at the beginning of last season. And I almost feel like this is going to be a carbon copy of last year, that at some point, Pep Guardiola will stop messing about, stop with these whole experiments of who can play in midfield and go, right, there's my team, boom. And when he did that last year, they flew. This year, you know, it's this, you know, Rico Lewis going into midfield when you've got Mateus Nunes or Phillips sitting on the bench. You know, when he finally decides to stop messing about, I still think City will win it. But it just feels to me that, I said this to you last year, I feel like he gets bored and thinks, how can I reinvent it?
Yeah, it's Pep versus Pep, innit? Like,
yeah. You're right.
He does do that, man.
You're right.
He starts doing nonsense. I mean,
and then
what he does.
And then what happens is, I mean, I watched TalkSport today and Stuart Pearce said, City haven't got what it takes to win the league. And the first person that came back to him said, sorry, Stuart, didn't everyone say this last year and the year before? Whenever Man City don't start
best
well,
start of the season under Pep as well.
That's why I never write them off. It's you know, it's the 10th of October, but yeah, this is the same person, by the way, that thinks Newcastle are going to win the league. So you've got to kind of
Stuart Pearce.
Yeah.
He's tapped.
Yeah, he predicted Newcastle. Now, do you know what? I mean, I don't mind this. At the beginning of the summer, he predicted Newcastle. Cool. Even now, he's going, I'm sticking with it. Stuart, this is your chance to change. Do you know what I mean? This is
Why would he even say that in the summer? Based on what?
I don't know. I
Based
don't
on
know.
what? They finished 4th.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know, man. I don't know,
Yeah,
boy.
I
I don't
love
know
that.
I don't
Pep
know
versus
what
Pep.
white substances he's having in his coffee, boy. But it ain't sugar,
Oh,
boy. I'll tell you that. So
yeah. It
that's a
just
bit
feels
strange.
it feels very much like it's Groundhog Day though with City, doesn't it?
Mm.
It's almost like every game I've watched them. At the moment, I've not once felt like I'm watching City at full throttle, even half throttle. They look like they're going through the motions, and it's almost like they need 3 or 4 months to get their fitness to this kind of peak position where Pep goes, right, can we stop messing about?
It is almost like they periodize it to peak at a certain time because
It
they
is.
can't keep doing that. Like it doesn't make sense in it unless they're doing it on purpose.
No, like, listen, I agree with you. I mean, everyone's going a bit overboard as well. Oh, they've lost Mahrez. Wasn't even a guaranteed starter, by the way.
He wasn't.
Gundogan's a big miss. But listen, I think City have got far too much talent in that squad. When they all start getting into form, I still can't see past them for the title. Sorry if I just can't.
Me neither. Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, as it stands, you lot are in the conversation, whether you like it or not. This is what happens. In the AFCON, you've got Basuma and who else leaving?
Basuma and Papa Sarr are going for the African Cup of Nations.
That's your spine.
Yeah,
in the
it's
midfield.
2 of the 3. Yeah, yeah.
What's the plan for that? You know,
Well, you've got Bentancur.
is he gonna be back by then?
So Bentancur's back into training,
Okay.
but he's into training, jogging, running, that sort of training, stretching. He's not playing games. They reckon he'll probably be fit by the end of November. But listen, when you've been out for 9 months, you don't know what you're getting back, Rants, do you?
Sure.
You don't know what you're
What
getting
injury
back.
was it?
I think it was an ACL, wasn't it?
Yeah, a serious one. So yeah, you definitely don't know what you're getting back.
Yeah, because it's that mindset of, do I stretch for that ball I normally would stretch for? Do I run full pelt when I normally would? You know, but look, we need to buy. We need to buy in January because you've got Sonny going to the Asian Cup as well.
Yeah.
And just the fact that we need new players anyway. We are very thin on the ground in terms of quality. Very thin.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Someone saying Son Asia Cup as well. Do you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting, but you know what I mean. Tottenham looks so fluid at the moment that I think it's gonna be all right. So look what happened to Van Dijk. Still ain't the same, guys. He's not the same. And somebody said in the chat as well about Hudson-Odoi. He had a serious injury, and someone said that he has to change. He had to change how he walked and stuff like that. Bro, listen, I understand that. Like, and this is why I don't like when people overlook what injuries can do to players. You know what I'm saying? Because bro, like I've seen it firsthand. Like I got my surgery coming up, and it's gonna be my 4th knee surgery. And when you have surgeries, I had my first surgery at 15, bro. And when you talk about changing the way you walk, like I don't even remember how I used to walk. I just know it wasn't like this. You know, like that. Because I remember how I used to run, how I used to play. Like your whole body changes once you have certain injuries. Like you can't move the way you used to move. Your running pattern, your walking pattern,
Yeah.
everything changes. Like you're literally a different player. Like you're literally a different player. You have to adapt. It's almost like someone puts you in another body. Like that's what it is, and you have to adapt your game to the new body that you have. It's not the old body, and you don't know how players are going to adapt to that. And a lot of the time, they don't adapt well.
But listen, I've been saying it for ages. Like lots of Spurs fans keep saying to me, "But Bentancur's back," and you're like, "Yeah, but you don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying I know. None of us know what Are you going to get a new, hungrier, fitter, improved Bentancur? Are you going to get a bloke that's had 9 months out? He's going to take ages to get match fit. Is he going to be hesitant? Can he play? You've got to remember this Postecoglou style is really intense.
Yeah,
It's a lot of work that goes in.
Is he going to be able to keep up with
Right.
the output that's required?
Right. For me, I tell you what, I'd go and get Hatate from Celtic. I'd go and get that guy into our midfield straight away. He knows the Ange system, workhorse. He'll do all the doggy work. He can play a little bit. That's the sort of player I would go and get. But look, as far as Bentancur's concerned, we don't know. But I'm more worried about what if Romero or Van der Ven get injured. There's my real worry.
Yeah,
That's my biggest worry.
They're very important.
Yeah, the moment one of them comes out, you've got Eric Dyer going back into centre half, and the whole system changes. So this is why I'm getting it, Rants. If I was to tell you how much I'm getting it in the ear from Tottenham fans at the moment, it is unreal, because I sit there point blankly refusing to believe we're in a title race and refusing to say we're going to win a title. First of all, title races don't start in October. And second of all, I've never seen a team with that kind of that volume or lack of volume of depth that can go all the way and win. I think it's crazy. We're already
people
seeing
say Leicester won a week. It's like, Leicester really had a bench, but they didn't get the injuries. So
they weren't against the teams that are out there now, Rants.
Yeah, facts.
At that time, there wasn't Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Newcastle. There wasn't. And the difficulty is already what we're seeing is after 65, 70 minutes every game at the moment, Son and Maddison are being subbed off because they're carrying knocks. So I don't know, man. I listen, if we can get back into the top four or Champions League football, whether that's 4th or 5th, I think it's been an amazing season from where we were last year.
Champions League football is what it's at, bruv. If you can get top 5, you're laughing. Who cares? And then you can go in the market again. Because you need depth. You definitely need depth. But the way you're playing right now, some of the best football in the league.
Agreed. I just don't think our front three is good enough either, Rants.
Not consistently, it's not.
No, I mean, Sonny, I've got no issues with Son. You put that boy through on goal, he's going to put the biscuit in the basket.
It's either side of him. You don't know what you're getting week to week.
Absolutely, either side of him. I said to someone the other day, forgetting depth, that's a separate issue. If we were talking about pure 11s, if Spurs had Liverpool's wide men, i.e. Diaz and Salah, I'm talking about a title challenge. I know it's not that simple and it's about depth, but
no, you're right, though.
I look at our front three and I go, no one with a front three like that wins a title. I'm sorry, I just don't think they do. But listen, it's I'm not expecting them to. I'm not knocking Spurs for not going to win the league if we don't. I don't think we should be winning the league this year. This is like year one of a new manager. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Spurs. Good team, but I do think Spurs fans have had such little success.
They're running with this one.
Yeah, they're oh my god, they're not running with it, Rants. They've gone. they're listen. They are Forrest Gumping this one. They're running and they're not coming back until 3 years down the line with beards down to here. So I get called negative for that.
No, you're just balanced, innit? And the thing is,
yeah, man.
In this world, there's no room for balance. This is what I was saying. Like, you've literally got to be this toxic, positive guy all the time. If you're not, it's a problem. And this is a problem with the space that we're in right now. Everyone is fighting to be the best football fan and to be the most positive fan. Do you know what I mean? That it's like, this is not real. This is not a real act. You can't keep this up. Like there's too much fakery going on, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Like, a lot of us are in our own homes, watching the game. No one's jumping up screaming in their house, bro. Like, when you're playing against Bournemouth away, bruv. Like, no one's screaming in their house. Like, no one. Like, why are we doing this? This is not how we celebrate goals off camera. Like, but everyone's seeing all people jumping up and down, screaming all the time. And they think, all right, cool. So now if you don't do that, you're not a proper football fan. Nah, bro. Do you know what amount of football matches you watch, and you're just like, all right, cool. We're meant to beat Bournemouth. Oh, we beat them 4-0. I don't celebrate any goal. I'm like, if it's a good goal, I'll clap the goal. Whatever, turn the TV off and then, bruv, go back to doing what I was doing, bro. Ain't no one running around screaming in their house, like, most of the time. Like, this doesn't make sense. Do you know what I mean? Like, people have got it in their head that this is normal behavior now. And if you don't do it, like, you're negative. There's nothing negative about saying, you know what, it's only October. What's negative about that?
Rants, I always say this to you. I'm 40 years of age. You would like to think that by this age, I would have learned a few things about the way football can move from game to game. Let me give you an example. 3 weeks ago, right? 3.5, 4 weeks ago, everyone's talking about Eddie Howe. He's not up to it. Newcastle had lost 3 or 4 games. They're terrible. Since then, I think Eddie Howe has won 5 of 6. They've battered PSG. They're flying up the league. Look, that can happen the other way as well.
Yeah.
I said, look, I can't sit here. I came on your show all last season, Rants, and I turned around and said things like, these Arsenal fans, remember when the Arsenal fans used to get really annoyed at me? I said, you're not winning a league. It's October, it's November, it's December, it's January. Talk to me in April. And what happened was they had that one spell where they didn't win for 3 games, and Man City did, and it went, boom, swapped over. Now, if I sat here and said, you know what, Rance, Spurs are going to win this league. If I genuinely sat here and said to you, Spurs are winning this league, Rance, first of all, you'd want to message me after this stream and go, are you all right, Sav? Like, are you sure? If you bumped your head?
Yeah, I'd have said, hey, yo, relax.
But what it is, YouTubers, I'm going to blame a lot of YouTubers here. They run with it, right?
It is YouTubers.
They run with this, right? I watched a show the other night where I was told that the reason why some Spurs fans don't get on board, 1, they're miserable. I love that. I'm miserable because I don't think Spurs are good enough to win a title. 2, I'm no fun at parties. Love that one. That's always good fun. I don't know the correlation between parties and my team not being good enough to win a league. And the third one is, because Jamie Carragher's not said it yet, you don't believe it. Sorry, why do I need Jamie Carragher to tell me where my team are going to finish? Like, how old am I?
Bro, and it's not even that. It's
like, what are we talking about?
Like, if you've got a brain of your own, yeah, you would know that most of these ex-footballers don't know what they're talking about anyway.
Oh, for sure.
No, they actually don't know what they're talking about. And that's the reason why they're talking about it. Because a lot of them tried to manage and they saw that that wasn't their thing. Because when you go into management, like, it tells you real quick that you don't know what you're talking about. You know, like that, it tells you real quick. There's certain things that there's certain things they can speak on in terms of dressing room dynamics and all these things. They can speak on that on a human level because they've been in these positions. But when it comes to the tactical side of the game, most of these guys can't sit down and tell you why a team's lost, where the mistakes were made. Do you know what I'm saying? And then they sit there and then they light things up on the screen and try and find something wrong, but really they don't know that the problem started here. They're like, oh, keep an eye on this player. Oh, he should have gone with... Nah. How about... You know what I mean? The problem didn't start there. You know what I mean? These guys don't know what they're looking at. Like, most of this is a nonsense, bro. Gary Neville is a failed manager, bruv. You know, like that, he's a failed manager. If he was so tactical, yeah, he would still be managing. Like, he's the failed manager, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Carragher ain't no manager. Ain't never been no manager. Do you know what I mean? And I like them for the entertainment.
Yeah.
Take them for entertainment. Do you understand? But
Can I say,
start looking at these men like they know bare. Like, most of these footballers don't know what they're doing, bruv.
Footballers are like us. They've just been good at football. There's a huge difference, right, between...
Thank you.
Like, the problem with this is, right, and when I was coaching, one of the coaches always used to say, and I'm not going to name his name, but he's an ex-pro who has won leagues and Champions Leagues and stuff, ex-pro, always said, my opinion is no better than yours, no better than his, no better than hers. All it is I've played the game. Yeah? But the thing is, if all pro footballers' opinions were right, then when you watch Gillette Soccer Saturday, when you watch Match of the Day, shouldn't they all be agreeing with each other?
Exactly.
If all they're... Right. So when Paul Merson's sitting there telling everyone, what was the word he used for Arsenal? They were going to, annihilate Spurs or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't happen because you know what? It's just an opinion
that don't make no sense in it. And Paul Merson was actually a decent footballer. And the funny thing is, yeah, when you look, at most of these guys, like most of them, and you look at their careers, like you said, they were just better than the fans. But a lot of these fans still played football in their life, maybe not at a high level. Do you know what I mean? But as long as you've kicked an actual football, like, you can have a footballing conversation. Like, that's like sitting down and saying, oh, you know what, Jose wasn't a good player, so meh. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't work like that. You have some managers and some players, like, for instance, I tweeted when Arteta got the manager's job at Arsenal, I said, listen, if he gets backed, yeah, he's probably going to be a good coach. And that was just based on me seeing how he played the game and seeing who he worked with. Mourinho came out and said Xabi Alonso has worked with me, Carlo, Pep, and what's his name, the Spanish brother, Benitez, and his dad was a football coach. So I'm backing him to be a good football coach. That's logic. Do you know what I'm saying? But most of the time, when it comes to, he was a good player, so he's going to be a good manager, Glenn Hoddle, no. Like, that's not how logic works, bruv. Michael Owen, Ballon d'Or winner, the guy can't even string a sentence together on TV. He's not even a good commentator. I wouldn't want to see him manage a team.
Yeah, listen, it's all of this is exactly what I've said for years. At the end of the day, we all lean on, when we do this, right, we all lean on the ex-pro we like. Yeah. So, for example, I could come into you and I'll just pick a player. I'm not saying you said this. You could sit there and go, Foden's a rubbish player, right? I could then use, but I saw, I'm just trying to think of a pundit I think they're all a bit crap. I could say, Mika Richards, though, says he's amazing. You can then lean on, but hang on. I like Paul Merson, and Paul Merson thinks he's rubbish. What's it mean? It doesn't mean we're just leaning on the person that we want. I see Harry Redknapp every time England are about to go into a tournament. Harry Redknapp's there with his, England, this is our, right, this is our year. What does it mean? Managers get things wrong. Players get things wrong. Pundits get things wrong. There seems to be this thing that no one's allowed to ever be wrong about anything.
No, but they think that because they've played at the highest level, that they have more credibility. But they only have more credibility, in certain instances. You know, like that. In certain instances, it depends on what you're talking about. That's all it is. Like, it just depends. And it also comes down to your personal experiences. If footballers are going to sit down and talk about dressing rooms, cool. I'm here to listen, bro, because they've been in them. But when you're trying to do the tactical analysis, like, most of you, man, are not qualified to understand what's going on because you just don't have the faculties up here to understand the mechanics of the game. You're a good player because you were a good player. Do you know what I mean? There's a difference. Like, and that's why, the best players in the game tend to be the players that don't have the advantages. They don't have the advantages. Being a great athlete on a football pitch is an advantage. That's why the majority of the players that are great athletes are not great players. Because it takes the thinking out of it. You don't need to think when you can get away with doing things incorrectly and still getting away with it, bro. Do you know what I mean? And it's the same even in boxing, yeah? Like, Roy Jones is one of my favourite boxers of all time. But he done a lot of things that were fundamentally wrong, yeah? Because his reflexes were so quick and he was such a good athlete that he did certain things. But when he coaches fighters, they get knocked out. Because he tries to coach them to fight like how he fought. But he doesn't realise he was a freak of nature. Do you know what I'm saying? So that should be like someone like Lukaku, like bare technical deficiencies. I don't want him to coach my youth to play football. Why? Do you know what I mean? I'm not gonna ask him to coach my guy, bruv. It's like, you can't do these things, bruv. Like not everyone can be you. Not everyone can be 6'4", 6'5", 15 stone, run 100 meters in like 11 and a half seconds or something, bruv. Not everyone can be that. For us normal people, we can't get away with doing everything that you do wrong and still succeeding.
Yeah.
You know,
like some
that,
people are just built differently. Some people are.
That's what it is.
Look how unorthodox certain people are at what they do, but they make it work because that's them. You can't coach that into some people in any walk of life. But look, I listen. I just think I find it all very, very funny. I mean, this started with the Spurs thing, didn't it? I just find it so funny that as a Spurs fan, because I look at the whole club and go, I don't think we can win it. And it's honestly the number of people, Rants, that are you're negative. This is one I hate. Just enjoy the ride. What does that mean?
Huh?
What do you mean? Just enjoy what ride?
You know how crazy that, bruv. Just enjoy it, bruv. Imagine you wanted to go somewhere and you jumped in your Uber. And he ain't got the sat nav on, and he just said, "Yeah, just enjoy the ride."
Just enjoy the ride, yeah.
Bruv, where you taking me, man? What do you mean? I need to know where I'm going. Man saying enjoy the ride. I'm not gonna enjoy the ride unless I know where I'm going, because this is a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah,
like that.
It is what it is, man. And look, I just keep my feet on the ground. Listen, I like what's happening at Spurs. I can see what they're doing. They're changing around a lot of the staff. We're buying younger players. I like
What's this new director that the people in the chat were talking about?
So it's our new technical director. He's been the director of football at Aston Villa for the last 3 years, before they signed Monchi. Before that he was at Copenhagen. So I don't know loads about him. He's made some good signings. It's like any director of football. We can pick out their good signings. We can pick out their bad signings. I'm more interested to see how it works, because normally anyone who works that close with Daniel Levy doesn't get the reins. So for me, again, it's another thing where I'll say, yeah, cool. Let's see how it goes. Let's see when this guy's turning around and going, I'm recommending A, B, and C. And Daniel Levy's going, no, get me D, E, and F because they're cheaper. Right? That's where we'll see. So, yeah.
No, 100%.
So, we'll see. I don't know. I can't sit here and give you a detailed rundown on him. I don't know too much about him, to be honest. It sort of came from nowhere. I guess we'll find out in the next few windows, right, what he's doing. And he's in charge of the academy as well. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, there you go. Then that's another thing that people need to keep an eye on. You get me? I big up everyone inside. Smash up the like button. There was no the message that my man put in there. There was no about the Glazers and stuff in Qatar. There was no source or whatever. So I don't know where that come from. So apparently it's just rumors at the moment that it's been signed off. But we kind of already knew that, guys. Like, I think everyone kind of knows that the Qataris are getting the club, but we don't know when it's gonna happen. We don't know why it's taking so long. We don't know all these. There's a lot of things we don't know, but I think that's one of the things that we do know in it. Do you know what I mean? So I think it will happen. Obviously, Beckham alluded to knowing something as well, and you know that Beckham's worked with them before. I don't know if he's still an ambassador for them. I'm not really sure. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. We'll get our owners, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's been a while, but it will get sorted,
man. By the end of next month, I think it should be done. And I don't know. It's just one of them things, man. Can't wait. Make sure you guys follow Football Heritage TV. The link is in the title. You got anything you wanna to push before you go?
Not massively during international window. I would ask if anyone would sub, it would be great. I've had the worst week since I started my channel this week, actually, in terms of subs. So if any 20-30 people did want to subscribe just to get the ball rolling again, that would be appreciated. But look, thanks for having me on as always, and always enjoy our chats.
Come on, people. You know what I mean? So make sure you smash the sub button. Big up everyone inside. Make sure you hit the like also, and I'll catch you guys back here